When I first started on YouTube back in 2020, I watched hundreds of YouTube tutorials learning what is the best way to pick my niche, where to find your audience, how do you create winning video ideas, and what is the best way to capture their attention. But after watching my 10th video, I began to realize that all of the information in these videos are pretty much the same. The strategy to grow is the same, how you find video ideas is the same, and most importantly, how you pick your niche on YouTube is exactly the same. Every creator out there is giving the same exact tips on finding your perfect niche. Now, this is not to discredit all those great creators out there on YouTube that have already given amazing tips, but I can easily summarize the process of finding a winning niche in these few steps. First, you want to find a general topic that has some interest for you. Second, you want to niche down to a point where you can focus on a certain area. Third, establish yourself as an authority figure and start producing content for an undervalued niche. And fourth, you want to rinse and repeat that process until you become that recognizable figure that everyone wants to continue watching your videos. This sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Look, this is not necessarily to say that all of these steps are wrong, but if it was that easy, then everyone would be doing it by now and seeing amazing results. So to counteract this issue, I'm making this video to dive in a lot deeper on how you choose your niche on YouTube. So that way you can figure out how your favorite YouTubers has made it big within their own niche, and you can copy the same steps that they're not telling you. By the end of this video, after I mention all of the points when it comes to picking a niche, I'll also reveal a strategy that will guarantee you to grow consistently on YouTube. So stick around and watch the entire video if you want to know how you can apply this exact same strategy for your own channel's growth. So to start off, this point I'm about to share with you is probably the most disregarded one of them all, and yet it's the starting point that gets your channel from 0 to 100. This point is the importance of understanding the difference between niching down versus niching up. Just a heads up before we continue, this point takes a lot of inspiration from Nate Black's video about this same topic. I just wanted to credit him before I continue because he was one of the first people to actually post this on YouTube and give a lot of great insights about this, and I'm just expanding his point with this video I'm creating. Anyways, as we heard from so many creators on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and even Facebook, you want to continue niching down to a point where you can establish yourself as an authority figure. In theory, this does make a lot of sense. If you don't niche down and you start making videos for the general market, YouTube will not know how the video that you created should be pushed out. How the algorithm works on YouTube is that it finds an audience that really wants to watch your video. It's not trying to work against you here. Without any prior information or any previous audience that knows about your channel, YouTube won't promote the video that you've created the way you want it to be. So by niching down, you gain the benefit of being able to establish yourself as an authority figure in a very specific niche. And you get to build up a loyal audience that would love to continue watching your videos, subscribe to your channels, and stay updated on your next post. However though, what is often not mentioned about niching down are the downsides with it, especially when you niche down too specifically. When you niche down and start making content, you will eventually reach a certain point where you'll feel that your channel's maximum growth potential has reached a certain cap. The reason why this happens is that because the videos that you created are so specific to that niche you are working in, the YouTube algorithm tends to believe that the videos you are uploading are specifically meant for the niche you're trying to hit. That's why for a lot of smaller creators who do focus on a very specific niche, they experience really slow viewer and subscriber growth. And as I mentioned earlier, you will eventually start feeling that you're reaching a certain cap in your YouTube channel's growth potential. So how do I know about this? Well, after running my own YouTube channel about my university's business program, I actually experienced the same issue. I started reaching my channel's maximum growth potential and I could not get past 100 subscribers at that time. Since my niche is so specific to my university's business program and I made videos specifically targeting that market, this completely eliminated any new viewers that would have been interested in seeing my channel. Now, even though I mentioned the benefits and downside with niching down, niching up isn't something a lot of people talk about. As I mentioned earlier, niching up tends to make it harder for your channel to find the right audience to work with. There are various reasons, but the main problem behind niching up is that you'll be competing against top creators who have already established themselves in various niches. So because of this, you are just too small to be recognized, and this snowballs into YouTube not wanting to promote any of your videos. On the other hand, opposites of the downsides when it comes to niching down, the potential to grow when you're niching up is a lot better. Since there is an endless stream of potential viewers that could watch your channel, you can easily scale up and hit the right audience. More importantly, by opening your market to a bigger audience, you gain access to an infinite number of people who would really like to watch your content. And this is something that is not often found when you're niching down to a specific niche. Now, after explaining both niching down versus niching up, it is pretty clear that there is no better option than the other. Both have their limitations and both have their benefits. To visually illustrate what I just talked about, take a look at this diagram example about the ads niche. Right here on your screen, you can see what every creator has meant when it comes to niche niching down. Since there are so many big creators, which is represented by the white figures in the diagram, there is no room for you to grow as an authority figure in the ads niche. So because of this, you want to continue niching down to a point where there is room for you. And that's how you end up in the e-commerce Facebook ads niche. However, as you continue to grow in that really specific niche, there is a limit to your growth potential. That green circle around the e-commerce Facebook ads niche will not get any bigger. That's the maximum growth potential you could actually achieve if you continue making videos in that niche. Now, realistically, the e-commerce Facebook ads niche is a lot bigger than what is represented on this diagram. But just to prove my point, this diagram can apply to multiple niches, whether that be in a very specific niche like what I experienced with my university's business program, or focusing solely on a specific game mode like Minecraft Hypixel Skyblock as a really specific niche. Any creator that has been focusing on one specific niche has definitely run into the problem of reaching their maximum growth potential. Now, other than understanding how to niche down versus niching up, this next point is what a lot of YouTubers completely forget when it comes to understanding what kind of niche you should be picking. This next point is the mutuality between adjacent niches. If you've been keeping up to date to what kind of videos are being uploaded on YouTube, you've probably noticed that some videos are mixing in with different niches. What I mean by this is that you can probably find a car review being done by a tech review channel. I'll be totally honest, the example that I'm just using right now has some familiarity bias since I am using MKBHD, who is one of the biggest tech review channels out there on YouTube. However, this point is just not limited to bigger channels. Let's take the Car Creatives YouTube channel as an example here. Alex, who is the creator of the Car Creatives YouTube channel, primarily focuses on creating content about photography and videography for cars. However, more recently, Alex has begun uploading videos that is talking a little bit more about the car that he owns, which is a damn nice car, by the way. The Mark 8 GTI is one of my favorite cars out there. Even though his niche is primarily focused on shooting photos and videos for cars, Alex is still able to consistently hit a lot of views for this off-niche video. So why is this the case though? How can he make an off-niche video and still consistently hit a lot of views that is still above his channel average? Well, it's actually a lot more simpler than you think it is. And no, it's not because of his existing viewer base. The reason why Alex is able to upload an off-niche video is because that type of content actually falls under an adjacent niche which is really closely related to photography and videography. This adjacent niche being any car review content. If I were to show this example on a diagram, it would most likely look like this. Since Alex's niche focuses on two specific areas, this being photography and videography with car content, this allows Alex to tap into a niche which is overlapping with his existing niche. Even though it's very clear that Alex's channel is focused on the photography and videography side of car content, this niche overlap gives him the ability to tap into another market and start making content for it. That's why Alex is allowed to make content about photography and videography for cars while also having that flexibility to make videos about the car that he owns. So what can we take from this example? There is a clear but yet hidden overlap that a lot of YouTubers are completely neglecting, especially when it comes to growing very sustainably. To properly grow on YouTube, you have to really understand the potential growth behind your niche, and if there is the possibility of branching out into adjacent niches. Now, there are a lot of benefits when it comes to looking into an adjacent niche. One of the biggest benefits that I do have to mention is that if there is a video idea or video format that is working really well in an adjacent niche, it would most likely work for your own niche as well. That's why for some niches like the ads niche, the same video idea of using this winning template can work in adjacent niches like Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, and maybe even YouTube ads. Now, another benefit when it comes to using adjacent niches is that it provides you growth that would have never come if you solely focus on one niche. If you are hitting a cap in your growth potential, this could provide an opportunity to break free of your stagnation. The mutuality between adjacent niches is not something a lot of creators talk about because it's a secret that these top creators want to keep away from you. So with all these points being mentioned, this is everything you have to know when it comes to picking the perfect niche for you. But Jason, it's a lot easier said than done. How can I really apply this to my own channel's growth? Yeah, I know, that's why I'm about to tell you how to actually do it with this exact strategy. So taking all of these points that I just mentioned, here is the foolproof strategy that you are missing to grow your channel. So for the first stage of this strategy, you want and must niche down. As I mentioned earlier, there are so many benefits associated when it comes to niching down. So in the early game of your YouTube journey, you want to take full advantage of these benefits. What you need to do is niche down to a point where there is an area for you to grow as the go-to expert and start making amazing videos for that niche. Don't worry if there is already a few creators operating in that field. This is actually a great indicator that there is demand for this type of content, and you get to see what videos are being favored on your competitors' channels so you can do the same thing for your own channel. Now, this is where the fun part begins, and not a lot of YouTubers actually do this. After making content in your specific niche for a little while, you might start hitting a cap in your maximum growth potential. If you're starting to see signs of slowdown, this is an indicator for you to enter the second stage of the strategy and begin niching up into a slightly larger niche. So for example, taking the first diagram that I showed in this video, if you focus on the e-commerce Facebook ads niche and you are starting to stagnate in growth, you can start to try to make videos that are a little bit more general for the Facebook ads niche. The reason why this actually works is because since your channel is already about creating Facebook ads that is a little bit more specific to e-commerce, your channel is already recognized by the YouTube algorithm for having content already about Facebook ads. And that's why you can actually expand into a bigger niche and start making a little bit more general videos. Now, after expanding into that larger niche, there is a higher chance that your channel will continue to grow. However, if you do want to catapult your growth after being in the second stage for quite some time, you can enter into the third stage. This stage being taking advantage of your channel's reach in adjacent niches. You want to find adjacent niches that can relate back to your core niche. If you found an adjacent niche that overlaps with your existing niche, you can begin testing out video ideas and video formats that would have not worked on your channel in the beginning and see the results from it now. By doing this, you would be able to tap into a new audience that has never heard about your channel before and begin watching your content. However, the one thing that you do have to remember when it comes to working in this stage is that you need to do your research properly on these potential video ideas found in these adjacent niches. You have to make sure that your core audience in stages 1 and 2 can relate and find interest in those video ideas that are taken from adjacent niches. If not, then you'll find that your channel's growth would start stagnating and your core audience wouldn't really like the new content that you're trying to upload. You have to remember that your channel was built on top of this core audience and you have to somehow make these video ideas fit them. But if you're able to do this successfully, you're basically guaranteed to have a new influx of viewers that will contribute to your channel's growth while also still having your core audience find enjoyment in the new content that you're uploading. If you understand the strategy that I just shared to you, you'll notice that it'll be a lot easier to understand your YouTube channel's growth pattern and hit the audience that you've always wanted to. Look, even before you start your YouTube channel, learning about niches is probably one of the first things you should be doing. If you completely master the strategy when it comes to growing within a niche, then you can start thinking about how you can edit your videos. So if you want more information about that, you should definitely check out this video that I just uploaded. I go over everything you need to know when it comes to editing your first YouTube video for the 2024 algorithm. This is the video that I would recommend you watch next, or any of the new videos that I would be uploading after this video gets uploaded. But other than that, that's pretty much everything for this video. So why don't you just take the strategy that I just mentioned and all of the points associated with it and go kill it on YouTube.